Zoo-wee mama, how's it going everybody? I'm here today to give you my rankings on the July season spotlights that we have coming to Marvel Snap. Okay, so I'm going to go through each of these spotlight weeks and just go into depth for the spotlight as a whole, the cards being offered, mostly on the existing cards. Okay, I'm going to touch on the new cards and their abilities if you're not familiar, but I'm not going to go into depth of that. I've already put out a video talking about my predictions for the new cards. I'm really going to talk about the value of the spotlight caches in terms of competitive value for your collection and even the variants, because we got some crazy variants here. Okay, and at the end I'm going to rank each of these weeks from what I view as the most valuable spotlight week to save your keys for, all the way down to the most worthless one, okay, or the least valuable. Maybe all of them are valuable to you depending on your collection. Obviously, if you're missing more cards in one week than another, that one week may be really good for you specifically. Okay, now just a heads up, this information is data mined. Okay, it's still not official, but honestly, once the season does become official, right, and the season actually starts, sometimes cards change after that. I mean, last season we had Makari change halfway through. Sometimes spotlights or their variants change after the season started. I mean, there really is no official lineup, okay? So I figured, why not just talk about it now? Stuff could really change at any point. So let's get into these spotlight weeks. So the first week of the new season starts July 9th, and we have Hydra Bob, who is a 1-cost 4-powered card with a very interesting ability. After each turn, Hydra Bob will move if either player snapped. Very interesting, okay? We'll see how he does. Fairly flexible. He is in spotlights alongside Nebula and Galactus, so let's take a closer look at their spotlight variants, and I'll give my thoughts and ratings for the cache. So in terms of the token value, it's good. Nebula did just drop down to Series 4, but Hydra Bob and Galactus are both Series 5. Okay, this is pretty much the standard. New card is Series 5, and they usually pair it with one Series 4 and one Series 5 card. So really the standard here. In terms of being competitive, it's just okay. Now, Nebula, honestly, is a good card. Okay, she's solid. She's one of the best 1-cost cards. Right now, though, she's not seeing a ton of play. It kind of depends on the meta, right? If Kitty Pryde is really popular or decks slapping down a lot of cards are really popular, Nebula loses some value. Even with like Jeff and Nocturne, you know, your opponent plays them on her lane and then they move away and they can play more cards. So just cards that synergize with Angela kind of counter Nebula. Okay, so she kind of varies depending on the meta, but she's not a bad card to pick up at all. But she's just 3,000 tokens, and Galactus is very niche. If you're playing Galactus, you're just playing a Galactus deck. There's like one or two, you know, kind of sub-archetypes, and he's just not insanely powerful. Okay, he's okay, but he's very niche. So in competitive sense, you know, this is just okay, and I'm not really ranking Hydra Bob here because we don't know, okay? As much as I love to predict new cards, love to predict which one's the strongest of the season, the weakest of the season, the honest truth is we don't know. And if you think you know, you don't. But we do know where Nebula and Galactus fall, okay? So in terms of competitive, I'm really focusing on the already existing cards here. In terms of variants, however, I think these are really good. This Hydra Bob one is awesome. This is the Pandart Studio. All the new cards this upcoming season, their spotlight variants are Pandart Studio. The Nebula one's okay, it's not bad. She's got some really good ones though. Galactus, he already has some really good variants. This one's awesome. Okay, I'm absolutely loving this Hydra Bob and Galactus one, so this is just a solid lineup. Following week on July 16th, we have Ajax coming to spotlights. Ajax is a 5-cost 5-power card. Now when I did my season review, I actually had Ajax as a 4/4 still. He was updated in the most recent patch or data mine to be a 5-cost 5-power. Same ability though, ongoing, plus 1 power for each card in play that's afflicted with negative power. Still unsure how it's going to work with Luke Cage exactly. My thought is Luke Cage will kill his buff if it's, you know, hitting cards on your side of the board. They're not going to show his afflicted power, but we'll have to see. But now he's 5 cost. He can't do turn 6. Hazmat plus Ajax. So I don't know. Interesting change there. He is coming to spotlights with Darkhawk and Beta Ray Bill. I mean, some just fan favorite cards here. Let's take a closer look at this. So in terms of token value, we have another standard set. Darkhawk is Series 4. Okay, he's only 3,000 tokens. Honestly, most people own him. Okay, most people just own Darkhawk. He's been around for so long, and he's been at the top of the meta for so long. Even though he gets nerfed, he's still a great card. Beta Ray Bill, a good amount of people own, but he is Series 5. If you don't have him yet, this could be a good chance. Okay, very fun card. In terms of being competitive, this is good. Okay, again, we don't really know where Ajax is going to fall. Darkhawk is an amazing card. He's always been super strong. Second Dinner, before I said, since release, he's been like one of the top 10 most winningest cards, basically ever. He's just always a winner. Even when he got changed to being a 5-cost card, he's still good. Okay, he's still found in some top decks. If you don't own him, you're going to want to pick him up, whether it's the Spotlight Cash or with tokens. He's just great. Beta Ray Bill's okay. In competitive, you can play him in like a Pixie deck. You could do a non-Pixie, but Thor, Jane Foster deck. There's a few kind of ways to play him, and he's okay. He's not crazy, but he's not bad by any means. But these variants, my goodness, all 3 of these variants are amazing. The Ajax one, great. I like it. It's solid. I like the colors. This Darkhawk one. And Darkhawk has some of the best variants in the game. If you look at all of his variants, he has so many great variants, like so many great ones. This one's incredible. Okay, this is near or the very top of the list for me. I love it. I can't believe we've got another amazing Darkhawk variant. And this Beta Ray Bill one is absolutely insane. He's got some decent variants. He just doesn't have that many in the game yet. But this one is amazing. The way he's just popping out of the frame, I bet in a 3D, it's going to look super good. The background way behind him. These are an absolutely amazing set of variants. Next up, on July 23rd, coming to Spotlights, is Copycat, who I personally have as the strongest, most competitive card of the season. That's just my prediction. We're gonna have to see how it goes and if Second Dinner changes some stats of cards even from now to when the season starts. Okay, but just saying, this is my prediction. I'm not gonna go into detail, but we'll have to see. I'm very excited for Copycat. She is a 3-cost, 5-powered card with the ability, when you draw this, steal the text from the bottom card of your opponent's deck. Now, I still have the question, does your opponent know? Okay, when you draw her and she steals that text, does your opponent see it? Like when they see Red Hulk power up? Okay, that's a big question that I think does determine how many cubes she can steal. So I'm interested in finding that out. But she's coming to Spotlights alongside Cull Obsidian and Thanos, which is kind of a package. I mean, Cull Obsidian loves the Thanos Stone. So let's take a look at the Spotlight Cash. So in terms of token value, this is amazing. This is the best you're going to get. They are all Series 5 cards. Okay, Cull Obsidian is much newer than Thanos to Marvel Snap, but Thanos is never dropping down. Okay, he's just going to be Series 5. A lot of people own him. There's been a lot of metas where Thanos is OP, broken, best card, best deck in the game. It's probably going to happen again at some point. I know he's been changed a lot. It's probably going to happen again. Okay, I don't know how, but Thanos always finds his way back. But in terms of token value, this is great. If you don't own Cull, now's a good time. He's not in Spotlights often. He's still fairly new. If you don't own Thanos still, come on. What are you waiting for? In terms of being competitive, it's good. Okay, Cull Obsidian is pretty niche, but he's just a nice 410. Okay, he's a nice, solid card. Thanos right now is seeing a little bit of play, not crazy amounts, but again, he always rotates back, okay? He bounces back after a nerf, after some changes, and he really lets you play some new decks, some new archetypes. Recently, his decks have been pretty expensive. You may need a good number of other Series 4 and Series 5 cards, but that may be changing as they've been changing how Thanos works and how his Infinity Stones work. So we'll have to see more about that. But in terms of being competitive, I think this is a nice, good cash just between Cull Obsidian and Thanos. In terms of the variants, I think they're okay. You know, the Copycat Panda Art Studio one, it's fine. I don't like it as much as I've liked the previous new season Spotlight cards and their variants. The Cull Obsidian one's pretty cool, and he doesn't have too many in the game, so that's probably my favorite of this bunch. And the Thanos one is nice also, but Thanos is one of those cards like Darkhawk that just has a bunch of great variants already. And I don't think this is, his new best. I think this is kind of, middle of the pack. And this is just my friendly reminder that if you are enjoying this video, to please give it a like, hit that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already, because we cover every single new card release in Marvel Snap, as well as helping you plan your resources through videos like this. And the last week of this July season is very unique and interesting because there's not really a new card in Spotlight Caches, okay? Cassandra Nova is actually coming out. She might actually come out like a week prior to July 30th, around the same time as Copycat, but she's coming out with Deadpool's Diner. Okay, Deadpool's Diner is the new game mode. I'm not going to go into detail here, but if you haven't heard about it, you will. It's coming to Marvel Snap later this month. It's this new game mode where instead of snapping, you kind of snap, but you earn bubs instead of like snap cubes. And if you get enough bubs, you get Cassandra Nova. Okay, and if you get all the bubs and hit the max score, you get a variant for her. But everyone's going to get Cassandra Nova for free if you play Deadpool's Diner. And so it's not just an extra card added to the month. There's just like no card in the Spotlight. Okay, I'm not really sure what they're doing with the Spotlight. Data mines are showing just Proxima, Midnight, and Hope Summers. So I don't know if they're going to have a 3-card Spotlight or if they're going to throw in another, Series 4 or Series 5 card. That's kind of unknown. But it's just going to be cool to get a free card, so I don't think anyone's going to complain. Okay, you shouldn't complain, we're getting a free card. Cassandra Nova is a 3-cost, 1-power card. On reveal, steal 1 power from each card in your opponent's deck. And with Arishem in the meta right now, if he's still meta by then, Cassandra Nova could hit really big against Arishem decks. So looking at this very unknown, awkward, unique Spotlight, okay, we really don't know what's happening. The token value, it's okay. Proxima and Hope are both 6,000 tokens, but we don't know if there's going to be any new card, right? I mean, we're getting Cassandra Nova for free, and you can get a variant for her in Deadpool's Diner. So if there's just no new card this Spotlight week, it's really only worth opening if you're missing some of these existing cards. So it's kind of unknown, the token value. In terms of being competitive, yeah, it's okay. Hope Summers is fine. She's not a bad card. She has some good homes where she can feel good. Proxima, it's, very niche, right? If you don't play discard, you don't play Proxima. If you do play discard, she might feel good, but she's just so niche and so competitive sense, it's just okay. Neither of these cards are 100% needed. Hope is a bit more important to have than Proxima just because she fits into more places. And in terms of the variants, I'm not loving these. Hope has a lot of variants that kind of look similar, and she has some really cool ones that I like more than this. The Proxima variant isn't bad. I actually kind of like it, and she doesn't have many variants in the game. But again, it's just a weird Spotlight week. Is it only these 2 cards? Is there a third? It may just not be worth opening at all unless you're missing both Proxima and Hope. So to sum it all up, for the Spotlights coming in this July season of Marvel Snap, the Spotlights I deem as the least desirable is this last week. And again, we're kind of short on information. We really don't know what it's going to look like, if they're going to fill it in with another existing card, or if it's just going to be a 3-slot total Spotlights, or it's going to have like 2 mystery cards. I mean, that would be bad, right? If it was 2 random Series 4, Series 5. We don't know, so don't plan on saving a bunch of keys for it. Next up is this first week, okay? And again, if you like the new cards, then that's great. Chase after whatever cards you want. But Nebula and Galactus, they're not seeing a ton of play right now. Galactus is very niche. Nebula is probably the best card of this bunch, but she is Series 4. You could just get her with tokens. And, if you like the variants, then great. But if not, I don't see too much of a reason to chase after this. At number 2, I think, is this Ajax Spotlight week. Now, this is honestly a really strong week, and I have this as the best variants. If you love chasing after variants, if that's what you like, you always go for the coolest variants. This is the week, okay? This is the best variants week because Darkhawk and Beta Ray Bill look absolutely insane. But Darkhawk is probably the strongest card in this entire list of all these weeks. Darkhawk is the strongest card in the game, at least for the existing cards. But he's only Series 4. If you really just want him to be competitive, you just spend 3,000 tokens, right? You don't need to chase Spotlight caches for him. But overall, it's a solid cache. If you can pick up better a build, that's nice. We'll see how Ajax does. I'm unsure of him, but we'll see how he performs. This could be a decent week. And then of course that leaves number 1. I have this Copycat week. Now, yes, I do think Copycat will be the best card, but even if I'm wrong, being able to pick up Call Obsidian and Thanos, if you don't already own them, both Series 5 cards, is just the best token value here. And it kind of gives you a nice little package, right? You get Thanos and Call. So I really think the Copycat week and Ajax week are the most desirable. But again, this is going to depend on your collection. If, maybe this Hydra Bob week, you're missing Nebula and Galactus, but you have all the other cards for the other week, well then obviously that Nebula Galactus week is the best for you. Okay, it's going to vary on your specific collection, but this is how I view it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Which Spotlight weeks you are saving your keys for, your resources for. Okay, let me know what you think. And until then, stay positive. I'll see you next time.